There have been a lot of movies that came out this year. Some great, and some not so great, but there's still much more to be anticipated, especially if you like robots. Welcome back to the Appeasement Pod. Today we'll be discussing the newest movie from Dreamworks, The Wild Robot. From the trailers alone, I know this movie will make me cry, so needless to say, I'm excited. If you want to support us, we have a Ko-Fi linked right here. And if you have any video ideas you'd like to see from us in the future, you can fill out this Google form. Now onto the video.
But what are we here for today? The Wild Robot.
What creates unity? What brings people back together? Nothing like from the creators of How to Train Your Dragon.
A good animated movie.
From the creators. No, and I see the logo and it gives me chills.
Because as it should. That's also another good video idea.
Yeah.
I had never heard of this book before. So the movie is called The Wild Robot, but it's also based on a book by the same title. So the movie comes out September 27th. So when you see this, it should be a week until then, and if it's after, then maybe you can go see it. Book your tickets. Tell us how it was.
Book your tickets.
It's produced by Dreamworks, so already had high
From
hopes
the creators
of How to Train Your Dragon.
Puss in Boots, The Last Wish.
See, because when that came out, the game was changed, and so now I have high hopes for the studio.
Oh, the game was changed.
And
also, well, Dreamworks is always just amazing.
oh, I agree. It's based off a book by Peter Brown, and I think there's 2 or 3 volumes of, it's like a series. And I saw a bunch of people on TikTok talk about, oh, I loved this book as a kid. So I already have high hopes for, I was like, okay, this seems like a good story. Like if it's one that people actually like.
It's like a graphic novel, or
so it's like an illustrated novel. So it's
it's like pages are illustrated.
Yeah, so there's like, it's like a book, but then there are some illustrations that he actually did himself in the original copies.
Oh, he's multifaceted.
Yes. So the basis of the story is that there's a main character named Roz, who's a robot, and
Riz named Riz.
who wakes up and she's alone on a remote wild island.
She's a girl.
She's a girl.
Yes, she is a girl.
She's mother.
Wait.
Well,
I thought it was like...
So she wakes up in the wild island and she's very unfamiliar with her surroundings. She's a little bit confused and scared. But as she decides, like, okay, I have to actually exist in this island, I'm going to make friends with the animals and then also learn about, like, how it works. So as she becomes friends with the animals, she starts to feel like, okay, maybe this is my home. And then suddenly her past starts to come back to her and begins to haunt her.
No.
So she has some dark, twisted past that we don't know about.
And
yeah, so that's kind of like the basis of the story.
This is just like big oil.
Big Roz.
big robot.
Big robot. Something else I wanted to mention on Peter Brown's blog, he mentioned that there's another character named Vantra that's in the movie, and apparently some of the people in the comments said they didn't recognize her name from any of the series, so I think she's a new character, so that's fun.
So get excited.
She's like another robot, so that's interesting because obviously the
come
premise
and
is that
kill
Roz is the
Roz.
only robot as far as we know and as far as she knows, and apparently she's the bad guy because I saw a TikTok the other day about the voice actor saying I'm the villain. So
wait, did she spoil it? Like,
I hope.
we haven't seen
I
it
don't
in the
think
trailer,
so.
right?
I don't think so. I don't know. Just putting that out there. That's what I saw. Really excited for this movie, and I also want to mention about my drawing really quick. So because I haven't seen this movie, obviously I was like, I don't really know the personality of the character like too well, but I thought, what is another robot that I like and know of? The Iron Giant. So I'm drawing them together in this like comic style,
and she's very small.
Yeah, she's very small because he's huge. He's literally 50 feet. Yes, I looked it up. I tried looking for her height, and it didn't say, but
if you
I
compare
assumed
it
to the duck, then
and the other critters in the forest,
then you can assume she's more like human height. So she's like being held up by him because
Wow,
that's really
wow,
iconic.
wow.
So yeah, that's really good.
That's my headcanon.
That's my headcanon. That's my pre-movie
things.
headcanon. Unless she turns out to be evil and sick and twisted, but I have hope in her.
I doubt that. After watching the trailer, there've been 2, I think, that have been like officially released. The first one came out like 6 months ago, and it was much more vague on what the plot of the movie was. I guess if you had read the book, like, though, you would know. Yeah. But it was much more just like scenery shots and kind of
beautifulness.
Yeah, beautifulness culminating,
up, like, literally hyping you up,
like hyping up the audience. But it was just showcasing, obviously, the gorgeous animation, gorgeous. Just a bunch of scenes of Roz falling in love with, like, the world around her in nature. And did it make me tear up? Yes, it did. The moment where
yes, it
it's
did,
just
in
beautiful.
fact.
It's just beautiful when the nature is beautiful and then the robots appreciating the nature. But what really got me is in like the most recent one that came out, I think 2 days ago, or just kidding.
Came out recently.
The more recent one. It like details more of, I think, like what the plot is gonna be. Also, Billie Eilish is like the soundtrack. Birds of
Birds of
a
a
feather,
Feather.
we should. Yeah.
Also, that's like
actually a
perfect
great
for
pick.
yeah.
Yeah, no, that song dropped and probably hit like the top charts, and the marketing team was like, we've got to get the rights for this somehow. And it kind of introduces the characters a little bit more with like the gosling. Technically, it's not a duckling.
Oh, he's just a yellow gosling. Oh,
He's
maybe
just a
that's why he's
yellow
yellow.
gosling,
Aren't they
It's actually
yellow?
kind of
I don't know.
adorable.
And like the fox, and there's like a mom possum, and all the animals talk, and it's precious. And the part that really made me tear up was when she's helping him learn how to fly, and then like he finally gets it, and then they're at the edge of the cliff, and then he like flies away with the flock, and then she's there, and he turns back and he's sad, and she's sad, and it's like literally leaving home, and it's tragic and horrible.
No, I feel like the basis of this movie is like one of my favorite types of stories because it's like little robot learning how to like appreciate life around
Oh my
her,
God,
and that's
oh
so
my
like
God.
because you're like, oh,
You already know
I
it's
need-
about to make you
no,
cry.
I know, it's gonna make me
exactly.
cry.
Especially with animals, like no,
I
if there's
know.
evilness,
Yeah,
what
and
is
so
evilness gonna be?
well,
doing
at
to
the
those
end of the
animals?
trailer, the most recent trailer, they show more of the other robots, and it's kind of like, oh no. And well, in relating to this, a quote that I was like when I was reading about it, that Herman, who I think is the director, said that there would be like Bambi moments of
no.
like pure terror, things that are frightening, things that are devastating.
Oh
No,
fun.
devastating. No.
Get shot by a
I know.
gorilla hunter. Like, if you haven't watched it, do watch it.
I
Even if you're
love
not
you
thinking of
till the
watching
day
it.
that I
It's like
die. Yeah,
cinematic.
yeah. Cinematic remix.
Yeah, if you haven't seen the trailers yet, definitely recommend. Even if you don't feel like you want to watch the movie, it might change your mind. Because I'm sitting here as a 20-year-old wanting to go watch it. And yes, it's based off a kid's book, but like, Puss in Boots.
The rest of our channel.
I know, like as if like
Anyone would be questioning that.
Robots of a feather, we should robot together.
Okay, so as soon as this movie dropped and all of like the little actors I follow were reposting like the trailer, I was like, oh, I actually have to see this right now. So like personally, the cast was like away from the visuals itself. The cast was like really selling it for me. Oz is voiced by Lupita Nyong'o, and Pedro Pascal is in it.
He's the fox too, right?
I think so, yeah.
Like,
And Kit Connor and Mark
Kit
Hamill.
Connor's a Gosling.
So
Curtis Connor.
I love Kit Connor.
Mark Hamill?
underrated. Yeah, and Mark Hamill. He always does little voices, but
Mark
apparently,
Hamill?
Luke Skywalker.
No, I know. Who is he in this?
Oh, I don't remember.
Maybe
He's the other
He was like, no,
robot.
yeah, no, I don't think so. Actually, I think it was like one of the animals, but it was like a one-off that like maybe wasn't as introduced or something like that. But it
Yeah,
was cute.
they're hyping him up.
That's really
That's really cute. Yeah, that's really cute.
And also an interesting fact we mentioned earlier was DreamWorks, but this is actually the last movie from DreamWorks entirely animated in-house. So whatever,
like, do we have to do
maybe,
that?
Like Shrek 5 or whatever is probably gonna be some random studio from across the world doing a little bit of something. So it might
It's always
be
something.
like how in I think it was Steven Universe, how
Yeah,
like,
they're
they're
eating
actually
the
hamburgers like tacos.
They sourced like pretty much almost all the animation for Steven Universe in Korea. And
Really?
there's a scene where they're eating like hamburgers, but they're eating them like hot dogs or something, or eating them like tacos or
Eating
something.
tacos like hamburgers.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, something like that.
that.
Yeah, it was
Because
like
they
the
didn't
wrong
know
way
it.
to eat it. Yeah,
That's
it's not-
hilarious.
I know.
That's
That's
actually
also
really
something I just would
funny.
never have thought of. Also, probably wouldn't have noticed that unless they pointed it out.
Yeah,
but-
because I mean they're very similarly colored, but that's very funny.
Yeah.
Anyway, the style of the film visually is described as Monet paintings in a Miyazaki forest. So lots
Okay,
of
that's
whimsy,
beautiful.
texture,
That's, like, the most beautiful
everything.
thing you could imagine.
Also, that's
Literally.
like the best
what you want
compliment
nature
you
to
could
look like
ever
in real
get.
life. They kept talking about how the concept art they're like really driven by that, like the loose and suggestural quality, and I feel like they definitely achieved that. Like just from the textures and stuff alone, it's honestly like if you even look up like side by side concept art, it's very very similar. So I always commend that because I think concept art sometimes
commend
is
that.
almost better than the actual film.
Well, I feel like especially too
No
for
tea, no shade.
a movie that's so like focused in nature, that's like you don't want it to be
it's
stiff.
you don't want it to
like
be
it's just
super
gonna be
stiff,
very
yeah.
beautiful,
Beautiful.
gorgeous.
Wow, just gorgeous.
You're just gorgeous.
gorgeous. I love you.
Anyway, even though I never read like the books or anything, I can just
tell that it's gonna be great just visually. I don't care if the story falls flat, but it doesn't seem like it's going to based on literally everybody and their mother's
disagree.
reaction. Yeah, I actually think it's gonna be so boring. I'm sitting there.
I actually think this movie's gonna be stupid.
It's gonna fall. I don't even want to see it. I don't know.
know.
That's gonna be the bad guy, the villain.
I don't know.